Get prepped for back to school. Channeling superhero qualities to make your kids bully-proof.
Really strong identity shapers.
Plus, a meal game plan for any student.
The same main ingredient.
And money-saving hacks for your school supply shopping.
There are actually legitimate deals.
But first,
how they've learned changed overnight.
The evolution of classroom learning post-pandemic. That's at the top of our back-to-school list right now.
Hey everyone, I'm Shaguna Duolov.
And I'm Christina Guerrero, and today it is all about prepping with our special Back to School show.
Of course, at its core, the back to school experience will be the same, with the combination of being both excited and nervous while wondering, how do it all feel now?
Yeah, Jimmy Rhodes is taking a look at what to expect for families with kids from pre-K to college, and found that some post-pandemic changes could be really good for everyone. And that's our featured story at the top of the list.
When COVID closed schools across the country, it was chaos.
People had no idea the coronavirus pandemic was going to happen.
Jason Patel's the founder of Transition, a college advising platform focused on closing opportunity gaps in education.
It's led to teachers, administrators, parents, and students feeling isolated, and overall, everyone is feeling overwhelmed at the process.
People are triggered by the idea of keeping their kids home. People are triggered by the prospect of sending them back to school. And every one of those anxieties makes sense, but respectful of the very real tragedies of the pandemic, we're going to look for some silver linings in American education coming out of COVID. For starters, many kids have become more resilient, independent learners.
How they've learned over the past several or a dozen years changed overnight.
Remember your grandparents talking about scarlet fever, the Great Depression, or rationing during World War II? And other than a perverse affinity for individually wrapped hard candies, they turned out okay.
Kids from a previous generation haven't had to deal with the pandemic unless we're talking about 100 years ago. So they've been taught resilience, they've been taught composure.
And that same kind of grit is now being unleashed on educational achievement.
It's very cool to see students move up into pods, move up into study groups, move up into new learning platforms, or just take on initiative and learning by themselves.
And sure, there's some disengagement and ghosting going on too, but that might be because remote learning was slapped together on the fly last year, and diving into the deep end has given everybody a better handle on the role of technology in education.
Technology for the schools is here. It's going to stay. It's never going to go away.
So now we can make it better.
The better we can ensure that the kids are learning in their own personalized and individualized style, the better off our kids are going to be. And that's the opportunity that this technology revolution has to offer.
Done right, tech can accommodate learning differences and increase transparency.
Students can learn more knowledge, teachers can convey their knowledge in more ways, and parents can keep track of what their kids are learning and what comments or criticisms the teacher has.
Speaking of parents, the pandemic has activated parental involvement.
This pandemic spurred a much larger group of parents to become bigger advocates for their children.
It's hard to miss when you're working at home and they're attending school at the same kitchen counter.
The proximity to their kids has forced parents to pay attention to what their kids are learning and become more aware of all the things their kids are working on.
And it matters.
The more parents are involved, the more kids feel like they're a stakeholder in their own education.
Finally, if the pandemic's done anything, it's renewed our appreciation for teachers and schools.
Guidance counselors and teachers are overworked, underappreciated, and underpaid. And we cannot take their work for granted. We have to ensure that we're supporting them, not just for a year or 2 years, and not just with social media posts, but with increased benefits, increased support, and a lot more training.
The pandemic exposed inequities in education, but it's taught some valuable lessons too.
We're all in this together, that it takes a village to raise a child.
How the pandemic has changed education is at the top of the list.
Once upon a time, people believed bullying was a rite of passage or harmless behavior that helped build character. We know now there's no doubt that it's toxic and has much longer lasting effects. So we're looking at how to bully-proof your kids.
The average 2-year-old child hears 432 negative statements per day, but only 32 positive ones.
I'm constantly failing, I'm constantly getting in trouble, I'm constantly doing something wrong, and that's all they remember.
Ehi Ademabo, the mindset surgeon, shares 3 tips to boost your kids' self-esteem and help them become bully-proof. For starters, turn their superheroes into their alter egos.
What would a world look like if we taught children that they can take on the actual identities and personalities of your favorite superheroes.
They could channel the courage, strength, confidence, kindness, and love of a Black Panther or Wonder Woman.
Step into character, not we go to bed at night and then we take the cape off, but really understanding this is who you are.
She says this not only helps build self-esteem, but can also make them less of a target for bullying.
So I think it's such a brilliant concept if parents can actually adhere to it.
Next, use positive identity labels.
Positive identity labels are really strong identity shapers, something that allows your child to see themselves in a positive light.
It doesn't have to be shared with everyone. It can just be an agreement between you and your child.
It could be something that you want them to be, and then you continue to call them that every single moment of the day, when you're having good times and when you're not having so good times.
If you want to call your kid a genius or brave or adventurous,
whatever label you're coming up with, make sure that they're aligned and you're in sync with whatever identity label that you choose.
Finally, redirect bad feelings into creativity.
Before it evolves into something more serious, which eventually leads to a low self-esteem, we want to have an outlet.
Help your kid find a way to express their feelings through a form of art.
By recording your voice, by doing some music. This is not about perfection. This is not about being an artist. You want to choose an exercise for your child that is fun to them.
This provides a lifelong outlet for expression that won't make them feel self-conscious.
To really take the time to decipher the way that they think about themselves.
Putting on the cape of super self-esteem to prevent bullying.
Well, whether your kids are going to kindergarten or college, back to school time is hectic for everyone. So let's at least make dinner a snap. Here are some easy peasy tasty meals that all start with a store-bought rotisserie chicken.
It's easy enough to pick up a fully cooked rotisserie chicken at the grocery store, but a plain old chicken could get boring.
I'm going to help you mix it up with 3 very different recipes.
To show us how it's done, we turn to Maggie Norris, owner of Whisked Away Cooking School. First up, let's make a chicken tamale pie.
So I'm going to turn my pan onto high, and I'm just going to start adding my ingredients.
It goes in the chicken, followed by the liquid ingredients.
Salsa and a little bit of chicken stock.
Follow that up with corn, beans, and uncooked scallions.
Our chili powder and our cumin powder.
With a little kosher salt, and then mix until the liquid starts to simmer. Then for the cornmeal topping,
I'm going to just pour in the rest of my chicken broth along with my yellow cornmeal.
Bring it to a simmer over high heat and mix for a minute or 2 until thickened.
I've turned off the heat, and now I'm going to stir in my cheddar cheese, green chilies, a little bit of butter.
In goes a little bit of kosher salt. Combine and then cover your pie with the topping. Toss into a 400-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes and enjoy.
Look how gorgeous.
Next, we're whipping up a tarragon chicken salad.
Once you have everything prepped, it just becomes dump and stir.
Start with your rotisserie chicken in a bowl.
Toasted pecans,
followed by grated onion and the optional grapes.
Celery, tarragon,
some mayo, a little squeeze of lemon, and a little salt. Stir and boom.
We'll taste it.
Finally, we're making a chicken gyro.
We're going to make the tzatziki first.
So mix together full-fat Greek yogurt, minced garlic, and shredded cucumber.
And when you shred the cucumber, you want to make sure to wring it out with paper towels to get all the excess water out of there, because you don't want a runny tzatziki.
A little lemon juice, kosher salt, and stir. Now for the chicken portion.
I'm going to turn my pan onto high, add a little bit of oil.
Then goes in a mixture of herbs, mint, thyme, and oregano, along with a bit of garlic, and mix together.
So I'm going to add my rotisserie chicken, turn off the heat, and I'm just going to stir until the oil has evenly coated all of my chicken.
Add a dash of salt, and now it's time to build the gyro. Start by stuffing a pita pocket with your chicken.
We'll top it with some tzatziki and a little bit of shredded romaine lettuce.
A few cherry tomato halves, and you're good to go. Hit us up on thelisttv.com for these recipes. Making dinner easy and delicious with 3 meals made with rotisserie chicken. Coming up next,
Binders, backpacks, all of it.
school supply shopping hacks that save time and money.
Something that you want to stockpile now.
Plus,
what really lights them on fire?
balancing your kids' schedules to avoid burnout,
doing something that's very tangible,
and apps to help kickstart the new academic year. Back to School Special continues next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our special Back to School show. All right, it is almost time as we start gearing up for early mornings, homework assignments, and after-school activities. We want to make sure that our kids don't get overwhelmed. Hattie D. Jamal has a few tips to help students avoid burnout regardless of what grade they're in.
School is almost in session. No matter what age your child is, their schedules can start to fill up pretty quickly, and it's not uncommon to see signs of burnout eventually start to surface.
increased irritability, increased anger outbursts, and just low motivation and just feeling of apathy and not caring about anything.
Tara Shad is a psychotherapist who works to help both kids and adults improve emotional regulation. She has a few tips to help our students avoid school burnout this year, starting with help your child find their why.
Your why is the thing that wakes you up and you're thinking about when you go to bed and you can't wait to get to it.
Tara says the quickest way to burn out is a schedule loaded with things that our kids have to do without a balance of things that they want to do.
Look for the things that your kid does on their own without you having to prompt them to do it, and nurture it, don't press it.
If their why isn't immediately clear, try asking them,
what really lights them on fire? What draws their attention? Why do they want to do that?
Allowing your child to devote time to their why will give them a much needed stress release.
You'll see it all through their face, all through their body. They're so incredibly excited to do it.
Next up, trust your kids' limits.
It's really important to allow them to learn to self-care, to learn to advocate for themselves.
Tara says this is a little bit of a balancing act for parents between urging our kids to keep going and staying on track while encouraging them to take a break when they need it.
You can allow them to take a day off of practice or shorten the homework load.
This not only helps your kid avoid burnout, but also become more self-aware of their stress threshold. And finally, minimize screen time.
Turning off the phone, sitting down, connecting, watching a movie together, or eating dinner.
Disconnecting from our screens and social media to reconnect with each other can do wonders for both you and your child's stress level.
Doing something that's very tangible right here in the present moment.
As you head into yet another hectic school year, Tara wants you to remember,
it's really important that they have this downtime to actually just be kids.
Just a few ways to keep the school burnout at bay.
No matter if your kid is in elementary, middle, or high school, there's tech out there to help them be their best. Teresa Strasser shares 3 back-to-school apps, and they're on the buzz list. Teresa.
Thank you. These free Apple and Android apps get solid grades from us for helping kids gear up for going back to school. Coming in at number 1, Khan Academy Kids.
Growing up is exciting. There are so many firsts to discover. We created Khan Academy Kids to spark the joy of learning in kids ages 2 through 7.
They'll have access to thousands of activities, books, animated videos, and games.
Kids can read, play, learn, and grow. Narrator Cody Bear and her friends guide kids through the app, encouraging creativity, curiosity, and kindness.
At number 2, Brainscape.
Learn as fast and efficiently as possible. Brainscape has created a web and mobile platform that allows students and teachers to collaboratively create smart flashcards.
It uses tech to boost learning, whether you're perfecting a language or preparing for a test.
Brainscape's secret sauce is the way it breaks complex concepts into their atomic building blocks and delivers them in a platform customized to your pace of learning.
So it personalizes the timing of each flashcard repetition.
We call this process confidence-based repetition. Brainscape optimizes your study time by focusing most on your low-confidence areas, while not wasting time on the concepts you already know well.
And third on our list of back-to-school apps,
SparkNotes has created lesson plans specifically designed to appeal to students and get them interested in classic literature.
The app helps students interpret and analyze literature.
One of the biggest challenges in teaching classic literature to students is that they often don't believe that these books are relevant to their lives. The Great Gatsby, To Kill a Mockingbird, Othello, 1984, Romeo and Juliet, and many more.
The app also has guides to history, math, biology, many other subjects.
Multiple in-class activities and out-of-class assignments built to hold the students' interests while they're studying, as well as paired reading lessons that compare similar aspects of two different books.
Apps preparing kids to go back to school on the buzz list. We've got lots more to come. Stay right here.
We are back with our Back to School show. And if you're looking for help learning a new language, there is something surprising and surprisingly fun that can help. Cartoons. We are learning new tongues with tunes on the hot list.
Learning a new language might seem daunting, but turns out cartoons are a great tool both adults and kids can use to make the process easier.
Cartoons are great for language learning because the storylines are easy to follow because they're very visual. So you get a lot of little benefits from it.
We're choosing the right ones with the help of Federico Espinoza, Director of Learning Design for the language learning platform Busuu.
Cartoons exaggerate everything. You see body language is so much more. You see facial expressions. You see very deliberate choices that cartoonists make to make meaning come across. That really, I think, helps give you a little bit of a leg up on understanding what you're going to say.
First up, a Netflix series that will help you practice your Spanish, Puffin Rock.
Puffin Rock is an English language cartoon, but it's one of those that because Netflix makes it so easy to turn a cartoon into another language, you can watch it in Spanish.
Una! Vamos, Baba!
It follows the adventures of Una the Puffin and her little brother Baba through the coast of Ireland.
Es tan hermoso!
It's just very simple language. I think a lot of cartoons that are aimed at children, especially very young children, will be very simple, will be repetitive.
Muy bien. Hasta luego, Bernie.
Moving on to the next cartoon, which will help you improve your Italian.
Siete pronte, ragazze?
Winx Club,
which is an Italian cartoon. It looks like a cross between Sailor Moon and Mean Girls because it's about teenage girls in sort of a high school environment.
The series is one of the most successful animated series in Europe and one of the first to be sold in the US.
It is really kind of fun, lighthearted, a bit silly, and it's a good way of looking at really kind of fast-paced, authentic Italian language.
Season 7 of this series can be enjoyed in Italian on Netflix. Our list wraps up with a cartoon for Chinese language learners, Big Ear Tutu.
Just searching Big Ear Tutu in YouTube will pull up a whole bunch of them.
早啊，图图小朋友，欢迎你。
It's a Chinese series that follows the adventures of a curious young boy with large ears.
The nice thing is it's actually subtitled in Chinese characters as well. So as you're listening, you can see the characters for what's being said. So it is a really good one to kind of practice listening and reading at the same time.
Several seasons are available for free on their official YouTube channel.
爸爸妈妈，再见喽。
Cartoons to help you master a new language on the hot list. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our Back to School show. We all know it can cost big bucks to supply our kids for their return to class. So we did the math and rounded up some tips on how to save money on your back to school shopping.
Pull out your wallet because kids are going back to school and...
Back to school is probably one of the easiest seasons, so to speak, to save money.
We spoke with money-saving expert Bethany Hollers from Brickseek.com to learn how to save on school necessities. Starting with general supplies.
Your pens, pencils, markers, erasers, binders, backpacks, all of it. Definitely into August, we're going to see very steep savings on all those types of back to school essential supplies.
Your best bet for saving some money is your go-to office supply stores like
your Staples and your Office Depots. We actually tend to find during this time of year your best savings and biggest discounts.
Next, lunchbox staples.
Supermarkets are going to be running some great sales around this time. They want to get you in the door and have you do the rest of your shopping there. So they obviously know it's back to school season, and they're going to be having some great sales on some of those essentials.
And
manufacturers are also going to be rolling out coupons for a lot of these types of items, like your granola bars, your crackers, your fruit snacks, and things like that. Take a store sale, so they've already discounted the product for you a little bit, and you stack that with a manufacturer's coupon, and that's really the trick to bringing your price down really low on some of these things that you're going to be buying one way or the other.
To snag these extra deals,
coupons.com is a great online site where you can literally just scroll through all the available coupons, the things that you're going to buy, print them out, and you're good to go.
finally, health essentials.
Your disinfectant sprays and wipes. Not only is this a great school supply,
but they're household essentials too.
You're going to be able to find sales on these just about anywhere. Your big box retailers, your office supply stores, also your drugstores as well. This is something that, so long as you can find a decent enough deal and there happens to be a coupon out at the same time, you're probably going to have your pick of retailer of where you can go to get these kind of really good savings.
We're saving on sending the kids back to school.
Well, I've got my little dude Mateo going into the 2nd grade, so I definitely got to get in on those savings.
Yeah, my little Ava's still a few years away from school, so I should probably start saving now.
Yeah, it's expensive, sugar.
Thanks for watching.